Hello girls, gays, and non-binary babes. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about some of the books that I've been reading recently. These are kind of in no particular order or have no rhyme or reason. They are just books that I either really liked or didn't like, and I just have things to say about them. So yeah, I'm excited to get into it, but before we do, we have a quick word from our sponsor. Hello everyone. So for today's video, I am partnering with Ana Luisa, who this month is running up to 30% off their entire collection of jewelry. I know it's almost Christmas time, it's almost Black Friday, and everybody's kind of wanting to get in and pick out their gifts for everybody. And I just have to say, I think Ana Luisa is a great option for anybody. I think they have really modern pieces, they have really timeless classic pieces, and they're all at a great price. You're not going to break the bank buying gifts for people, and I think there's something for everybody, whether you're looking for a friend, a parent, a partner, literally anybody. Their pieces are also pretty much guaranteed to stand the test of time. There are a ton that I wear every day. We'll get into that in a second. And they have held up. I work in a bakery. I'm constantly using my hands and they're perfectly fine. Some of my personal favorite pieces that I wear literally every day include my snake ring. This one is called Petra. You can find it on their site. Another big favorite of mine is this gold twist ring. It is 100% pure gold and it is just so pretty and simple, and I just love having a straight up gold piece. I just love that. This one is the Capella ring, and it is so pretty. It looks like little stars in the band, and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. And then finally, I have this bracelet that I wear every single day. This is the Rowena bracelet. I've had this for years now. It has never failed me, and I truly love it so much. So if you are interested in any of these pieces, please go to the link in the description. Thank you to Ana Luisa for sending me these pieces to share with you guys. So I have 8 books to talk about today. I'm so excited to get into them. And we are going to start with the 3 books that I have a physical copy of. All the other ones I borrowed from the library. So the first book that I want to talk about has been making its rounds on TikTok, I believe. I saw somebody recommend this on YouTube. It was Harpies in the Trees, and it's been on my interested in list for a long time, like probably a couple years now, and I never got around to it. But I found it in Barnes & Noble, so I picked it up and figured that was my sign. But that is Pen Pal by Dathan Orbach. This is, I believe, from the r/no sleep subreddit or something along those lines. And this has been raved about kind of everywhere as like a more indie horror that's really scary and stuff like that. So I don't remember what I rated this one, maybe 3.5 stars. I didn't really find this scary much at all. It was definitely eerie in some parts, but it was definitely clear from the way it was written that it was written as a Reddit post. It was good. I did like it. There were just some things that didn't need to be in here that were kind of only in here for like weird extra weirdness, which like I get, but at the same time sometimes it just didn't hit. So yeah, I liked this, but I don't think it is worth all the hype that it's been recently getting. Next, we have the next book in the Encrypted series that I am currently working my way through, and that is Magic for Nothing. These are by Shauna Maguire, and I'm having so much fun with the series. This is probably one of my favorite ones yet. I love a circus book. I love a book that takes place at a circus. There's a mystery, and we have to solve the mystery. And when you add cryptids into that equation, it is a recipe for deliciousness, in my opinion. and this was fantastic. I'm so excited to get into this section of the series. Each little like 2 or 3 books follows different characters in the family, and this family is like a group of cryptid hunters, and it's so fun. I really love, Antimony is the main character's name in this one. I really love her and her relationships in this book. Oh, just so much fun. Love this series. Can't wait to keep reading it. I already have the next couple books, so I will be reading those very soon. Okay, and the final physical book that I have is the best, I think, of this entire video. If you pick up any of these books, if you're on a budget and you're like, I'm gonna pick one of these books from this video, let it be this one. If you're a certain kind of person, I'll say that much. But that is The Employees by Olga Raven. This emotionally devastated me. I could do a whole thesis on this book and what it means and picking it apart. I got about like 20 pages in, and I went and picked up my dusty ass highlighter and just started, you can't see that, I just started highlighting. I just went for it and did not stop. This is so emotionally wrecking. I cannot even explain it. This is about, okay, I'll start here. It's a sci-fi, and it is a collection of like these, what's the word I'm looking for? Memos, staff reports and memos, interviewing the crew aboard the ship, some of which are human, some of which are humanoid. Basically, when the ship takes on a number of strange objects from a planet, the crew becomes deeply attached to them, and it kind of explores that and explores like what makes us human, and it also gets into like humanity and like life on Earth, and it's just so incredibly emotional, and I was not expecting it to be. I was expecting like a little fun sci-fi horror, and I got existential dread. What can I say? But it was fantastic. Cannot recommend this one enough. If you're into sci-fi and like philosophical kind of books, then you need to add this one to your TBR immediately. Like, I cannot overstate that. It's incredible. It's literally a little over 100 pages. Each page, we'll zoom in, each page looks like this. It's so quick to get through. You'll read it in like an hour, and it's so worth your time, I promise. So yeah, again, cannot overstate this enough. It was incredible. Obviously gave it 5 stars. Okay, now we're gonna get into the library books, the books that I don't have physical copies of. So if I'm looking down, I'm looking at my phone. That's why. The first one I'm going to talk about is One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake. I am slowly working my way through all of Olivia Blake's books because I really like her writing and her characters. This was my next stop on that journey. And I don't know what I was expecting when I went into this, but this was really, really good. The first little bit did kind of throw me through a loop, and it was kind of hard to get into, but once I got into it, I was so invested in these characters. Like, I needed this to be a series. It's kind of like a Romeo and Juliet retelling, and it follows 2 groups in this city, and they're rival groups, obviously, and rival families. And one is like a group of witches who basically essentially run this like witchy kind of business, and this family consists of like a mom and like 10 daughters, and the other group is like a dad and his like 3 sons, and they are rivals. And there's like a whole thing, there's romance, there's intrigue, there's murder, death, all the stuff you could ever want from it. Everything. It's so good. Once you get like over the hill of kind of trudging through, once you're through like that first 100 pages or so, you are on track, and it is just so fun. If you like Olivia Blake's books, if you like a good Romeo and Juliet retelling with some not all the way human characters, a little bit of magic, then I would highly suggest this one because it is fantastic. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Rachel Incident by Caroline Donahue, I believe. And this is one of those books that I have been very into lately, and that is young woman coming of age, usually in college or something like that, and it just kind of follows her life. There's not like a huge plot, but there is like, it's like a realistic slice of life plot, you know, where there's something happening in her life, but it's not like a life or death situation, you know? So basically the plot of this one is a girl who is living in some sort of big city, I think New York City, I'm not quite sure. She works at this bookstore and she makes a friend. We know that they are like the closest of friends, Rachel and James. And basically she's going to school and she falls in love with one of her professors, and it just kind of everything, the ball of yarn unravels from there. Stuff happens and it's just so hard to explain without spoiling anything, so I'll just leave it at that. I did rate this one 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. I love coming of age, learning how to be a human books, and this one was no different, so yeah. The next book I have to talk about, I actually would not have read if it were not for my cousin's wife, who we talk about books all the time, and she recommended this one to me. I had no idea what it was about, but she said it was really good and that she really liked it. So I picked up The Push. I cannot remember the name of the author, but this one came out a little while ago, and it kind of was one of those books where it really popped off, like for like millennials, I guess you could say, like New York Times bestseller list, stuff like that, and it's a thriller. So you kind of know where this is going, essentially. So The Push is about a woman who is telling a story looking back on her life, and she falls in love, marries this man, has a baby with him, but she's like convinced there's something wrong with this baby. She can't like get attached to it in the way she thinks like you're supposed to, like the way you're supposed to love a baby. There's just something severed there within that connection. It goes into like a lot of psychological things and motherhood, and also it's a thriller, so there's thrilling things that happen. I won't get into that. But if you have not picked this one up yet, I would highly recommend it. It definitely is not what I expected from it at all. I thought it was going to be kind of your cut and dry thriller, but there was a lot in it that I was not expecting, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I think I read this in a day, so I really liked it, and I was really shocked by it. So highly recommend if you've been putting it off or overlooking it because it looks kind of basic, then I would implore you to think otherwise. And the next book I have to talk about, did I get an arc of this? I think I did. And that is Mammoths at the Gates by Nevo. And this is the next book in the Singing Hills series, which is comprised of, I have the rest of the books. Where are they? We're here. So we've got The Empress of Salt and Fortune, When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain, and Into the Riverlands, and now we have Mammoths at the Gates. And these are teeny tiny little novellas, which I am obsessed with. So Mammoths at the Gates, all of these books follow a cleric and their life, their journeys, their adventures, their learnings. And in this book, the cleric is coming back to the, what's it called? Monastery? They're coming back and they've learned that one of the elder clerics has died, and they have like a really emotional connection with them. And there's some mammoths at the gates, and they want to take, this was their grandfather, I believe, and they want to take the body back with them so it can be buried and like all this different stuff that they want to do with it. And so they're kind of fighting a battle of what to do with this dead cleric. And it's this series is so beautiful. I love it so much, and every single time I read a new book in the series. I'm like, this is my new favorite for sure. I love this one so much, but this one really might actually be my new favorite. But you know, you don't have to believe that. But it was so incredible, and that was Lily snoring. And I just really love these books and how beautifully they write, how beautifully they talk about stories and who we are as people and what we leave behind when we die and all that different stuff. It's just so incredible. Yeah, highly recommend this series. I did give this one 5 stars. And the final book I'm going to talk about today is The Plague by Albert Camus? I meant to look up how to say this author's name before I started talking about him. This is a very famous writer who wrote The Stranger, which I read recently this year, I think, or last year. I really liked that, so I decided to pick up this one because it sounded interesting, and it was. So this one is, again, something very philosophical and introspective, and it's about a plague. This was written, I believe, in 1940s, somewhere around there, somewhere in that area, but this is about a plague, and it comes obviously after the Black Plague, but before COVID, and it is very reminiscent of COVID. It's almost like when COVID happened, we all read this book and then just decided to follow it to a T. Basically, it's about a city who has a plague breakout, and they have to be quarantined, and nobody can get in, nobody can leave, and it kind of follows a few different people living in this city that it follows like their lives, their day-to-day during this plague. I think it lasts for about a year, and it's just very interesting to read about that after we have just had basically a plague and how realistic it's written when the author really had no idea what a plague was like. He's just kind of going off of human nature, I guess, and he was right. And I really like this. If you're not too traumatized by COVID to read this, I would highly recommend it. I think I gave it 4 or 5 stars. I can't quite remember, but it was really good, and it's, again, one of those philosophical human nature kind of books. So yeah, if you're into that, I would highly recommend. And that is going to do it for this video. Thank you again to Ana Luisa for sending me some jewelry. Do not forget to check them out, especially if you are Christmas shopping. I know 'tis the season, so get ready and buy your stuff early. All the information you need is down below, including my code, the link, whatever you want. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.